When was the last time you were talking to someone and you realized that the entire time you were having the conversation, they really weren't even listening to you? They were busy on their devices, and when you challenged if they were listening by asking them a question having to do with what you were talking about, their response was denial or some trivial brush-off excuse of they were listening but they lost their way. How many times is that happened to you? Or is it just me? Perfunctory listening. Let's talk about it. Yeah, perfunctory listening. And I mean, happens to us a lot, I'm sure, because it happens more often than you think. And I've often said that hearing is involuntary, but listening is an art. And I truly believe that, because we deny each other and ourselves so much when we are unwilling to really put in the effort of listening. I'll give you an example. How many times this past week, or maybe even the day you're watching this, did you, not someone else, but you, actually brushed someone off? Someone you truly should have given the extra minute or two to actually listen and hear what it is that they were saying to you. How often? Guilty as charged. When I was in uniform, I don't know how many times I used to just think that I heard what my soldiers were saying. And not all the time, and not all of them, just some issues. Often it was when I thought that they were having some first world problem, and it wasn't really a problem, again, because I wasn't listening. And we deny each other and ourselves so much, because when we listen well, we develop more empathy, right? And us guys, especially when we talk about things like empathy and mindfulness, we get, queasy, and we don't like those terms and those words and those reactions for whatever reason, because it means we have to show our emotions. And us guys think because we're showing our emotions, that's weakness, and it's so far from it. But it was because I thought, or in my younger years, I lacked that emotional intelligence to understand that even when I think, or you think, that it is an overreaction, or again, it's some first world problem and they should just get over it, right? Even when we think that, I don't think it's appropriate for us still not to listen well. I mean, think about going to your doctor. I use an example, one that happened to me, actually. And the whole time that I'm visiting with this doctor and he's asking me questions and I'm giving him answers to what he's asking, the whole time that I'm talking, he's on his phone. And at first I gave him the benefit of the doubt because I thought he might have been looking up terms or things having to do with what we're talking about. But I could see a screen, and that wasn't the case. He was just, I'm sure he was hearing, but like I've been saying, he wasn't listening to me. His bedside manner, at best, was missing. And I thought about reporting it, and I switched doctors. I went the easier route. I just asked for a different doctor, and I did say why in the reason. But even your doctor who is supposed to be listening to you and understanding and digesting what it is you're saying, because it's life, right? And it matters. Even they are so distracted looking at a screen. Again, I gave him the benefit of the doubt because I thought he was actually looking at something having to do with our conversation and me, and it wasn't the case. Parents listening to our children. And this one is really interesting because for those of us parents who had parents who didn't really listen and give us the time of day, we know what that feels like and what that looks like, but yet we repeat the same things, because I don't know how many times in airports or just out and about I hear what the kid is saying, and then I hear the parent's response, and they're so dissected and so two different things often. And some of that drives over into why some kids, not all, I'm generalizing, but it could be why some kids act a fool in the stores, because they're not being heard. And most of those are just for things that, I get it, things they shouldn't have. But there are times when if we just listen, like I said, hearing is involuntary, but listening is an art. If we just listen, even the world events we have, the conflicts, the both armed and social conflicts we have throughout our world, I would go out on a limb and say better than half of them could probably be solved if we would just listen more. Sounds superficial, sounds a little light, and I get it. Some things require much, much more debate and work and takes years to resolve. But there's some issues, I could probably name several, that I think just changing the dynamics and changing the principles in the room, those people who have something to benefit, right? Something to gain. Remove them from the room and put those at risk in the room, or those well vetted to speak on behalf of those at risk if they can't speak for themselves. But I think conversation that goes two ways, a speaker and a listener, of which each understands that there is a time and a place for them, so that everybody can understand everybody and understand what is going on. But really, I think we fail ourselves and each other. The pup is having a good time behind the camera. But we fail each other and ourselves when we deny each other actively listening, just not being sympathetic necessarily, but empathetic, meaning instead of being sympathetic where I hear you, empathetic means is I understand, because now I can put myself in your shoes because I've listened so well. And oh, by the way, because I've listened, I might find that somewhere in my travels, in my journey, in my path, I experienced what you're experiencing. And I can better deal with that because I can better relate. And then the emotional intelligence that comes with listening. I mentioned that earlier, that in my younger days, I was lacking it because my soldiers, if asked, I'm sure, would concur that there were times when, again, varied. There were times when it was just their first world issues and everybody wants to be first in line to get a solution. But there were times when there were really deeper issues. And I got around to them. But at first, I was just like, what now? What again? Right? We've all asked those two questions. But I just say we need to stop doing that and stop with the perfunctory listening and responses. And when someone is asking for our attention to speak, and oftentimes when people are asking us to give them an ear, it's not necessarily even for a response. It's just the fact that you are listening. Hint, hint. But yeah, it's not necessary for a response. It's just because you're actively listening. So I say, why not, right? Why not? We need to just go back to giving each other the true attention that our conversation deserves, so we can look each other in the eyes and put away the device and turn towards the person and face them, which is why deep conversations should not necessarily be had over this medium as much as this medium matters. Deep conversation should be had face to face, where each other can feel the emotion within the room about what is being said, be it a family discussion, politics, really, whatever it is. It dampens down the rhetoric, and even if it doesn't, at least the emotions are so raw that you can see them, and that expression would get you to understand just how passionate the person is or isn't about the topic. But active listening, we need to get back to it, because we deny ourselves so much. We deny ourselves personal growth by not listening, because it might be something that we need to put in our kit bag that we're missing, because we're just yapping with the thing that sits less than 2 inches below our noses. Often I tell people we have 2 ears and 1 mouth, and we should, because of that, do twice the listening. But we're humans, we're flawed, but we can work on all these things, all right? So I just wanted to remind you that the next time someone is asking for a little bit of your time and your listening ear, give it to them. Put the device down, turn towards them, change the setting if you can read the room and tell that it might be time to change the setting for them because it's just not working. Those things you can't see if you're not really paying attention, if you're not present, if you're not truly, come on in here, let me tell you what it is, if you're not truly listening. So just wanted to remind you of that, all right? So thanks for giving me a listening ear and for stopping by. And until our next conversation, you be good out there. Take care of yourselves. And we'll talk again soon. We'll see ya.